Once the data marts created means subjects are created, subject oriented, all category of the data is going to form. Okay, then we are going to load into the data warehousing. That is the bottom up approach. You can see here, yeah, first on top of the data warehousing we are going to create the data marts. Data mart is nothing but the subject oriented. It's a categorizing of the one functional area. Sales is a one data mart. Okay, HR is information is a one data mart. Vendors information one is one data mart. Okay, same kind of category of the information we are going to gathering into the one place is nothing but the one subject. That subject is nothing but the one data mart. Okay, first we are going to create the data marts and then they are loading into the data warehousing. So these kind of data marts we call as a independent data marts. There is no related to the data. We are not depending on the any of the data warehousing. We are going to create the data marts is nothing but the independent data marts. Okay, you know what is a data mart? Data mart is a one single functional area. Focusing on a single functional area is nothing but the one data mart. Okay, so sales is a one data mart. Functional area is nothing but the all the sales information we are going to store into the one table. Okay, that is nothing but the one subject, one functional area. Or finance information they are going to store into the one. Marketing information they are going to store into one place. Okay, and HR related information they are going to store into one place. All policies information they are going to store into one place. So like that. Okay, so the Billy Iman is a suggested that is a top down approach. So top down approach means whatever the raw data is there, all the raw data is they are going to capturing and then loading into the data warehousing. On top of the data warehousing we are going to create the data marts. That approach we call as a top down approach. Okay, so this kind of data marts we call as a dependent data mart. On top of the data warehousing they are going to create the data marts. Those data marts called as a dependent data marts. So these data marts are dependent on the data warehousing. Okay, data marts are the two types. One is the dependent data mart, one is the independent data marts. So dependent data mart is nothing but the, so it is depending on the data warehousing. On top of the data warehousing is going to create the data marts is called as the dependent data marts. Independent data marts is nothing but the, so it is going to create the data mart on top of the OLTP systems. Before loading into the data warehousing they are going to create the data marts. Those data marts called as a independent data marts. Clear guys, what is in my independent data mart, what is meant by dependent data marts? Okay, so come to the Ralph Kimball and Billy Iman. So the two approaches, bottom up approach, top down approach. So 70 to 80% of the real time they are going to follow this Ralph Kimball approach. So this one they are going to take their how they are getting the data. Okay, the business, the client, whoever the clients are there, how they are getting the data. Based on the data they are going to choose any one of the approach, either top down approach or bottom up approach. Okay, how their data is coming from their source systems. Based on the source systems they are going to take they are going to choose any one of the approaches. Clear guys, these are the two guys are invented by the data warehousing. One is Ralph Kimball, one is the Billy Iman. Okay, the next one will be, we discuss the OLTP and OLAP systems. So OLTP is nothing but the transactional data. So whichever we are going to use in the front end applications like ERP system, CRM system, SCM, legacy, web applications, all the applications they are going to generate the data. That data we call as a transactional data. Okay, so but on top of the OLTP system we are going to load into the data warehousing. So whatever the data we loaded into data warehousing, that data we call as a OLAP data. So one more thing guys here. So here we are going to load the data, right? So last time I explained here, this is the source systems, sorry. So this is the source systems, okay, multiple source system. These data we are going to load into the data warehousing. So this data we called where we are going to store this data. So here also we are going to store into the, either it could be database or flat files. Either it could be database, 99%, it could be databases only. Okay, on top of the database they are going to generate the flat files also in a real time. So either it could be DB2 or Oracle, okay, SQL Server. Your data warehouse should be either any one of the database, okay, either IQ database or Hive database or GCP, Google BigQuery, okay, cloud platform BigQuery or Redshift, okay, or Teradata. It could be any one of the database. So
web application.
No, it won't come the web application here. Okay. So we are taking the data from the web application or any database or flat file. Okay. So from all the source system we are extracting. Okay. Okay. Here it could be any one of the source system. Either it could be web application or it could be flat file or it could be database or it could be external systems or legacy systems. Okay, any one of the source systems. So that source system they are extracting and then loading into the data warehousing. This data warehouse should be in the data warehouse is nothing but a one database only, guys. It's a relational database. Data warehousing is a relational database. Okay. So we are storing this all the data, whatever the data we are extracted, all the data we are going to store into the one database. That database is nothing but the data warehousing database. That data warehouse, it could be any one of the thing. Here it could be any one of the databases. Nowadays most of the things they are going to use the Hive, BigQuery or Redshift. Okay, these are the cloud databases. Cloud databases. Nowadays they are going to use these cloud databases. So earlier will be SQL Server, Oracle or Teradata, Netezza. So these are the other databases. They are going to store into the data into any one of the database. Clear, guys? It's not a mandatory all the databases. It's any one of the database. They are going to store into the data into data warehousing. Clear, guys? Any doubt here? So this database is nothing but the OLAP database. This is the OLTP database. Databases. OLTP data. This is the OLAP data. Okay. So based on this data, they are going to take a decisions. That's why we call it as a data warehouse is a decision making system. Okay. Next, here it will be there. ER model is going to follow the ER model. The OLTP systems are follows the ER model. ER model is nothing but the entity relationship model. So I am going to explain you that in the separate topic. Okay. So these are the dimension models. So data warehouse follows the dimension model, and this is the normalized data. This is the denormalized data. Okay, normalized data and denormalized data. Next, here is going to update the data. Here will be only read only data. Can't manipulate the data in the data warehousing. Okay, here it will take the weeks to months. It is going to take the time to develop these projects. The OLTP projects is going to take a months projects or maximum years, 1 or 2 years. But this data warehousing is taking the long term projects. To build the data warehousing, it will take the many years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It could be 10 years also. It could be taking the time. And also the storing, how much data we can able to store maximum in the years means months data only. Max to max 1 year data they are going to store into the front-end application. More than that, they can't able to store in the OLTP systems. But here we are going to maintain the historical data in the data warehousing. So it will be any number of n number of years they are going to store. If you want 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, n number of data we can able to store into the data warehousing. Accordingly, you have to increase your sizes, DB sizes, the memory and then hard disk, everything you have to increase from your end, the company side. They can able to store any number of n number of years data they are going to store into the data warehousing. Clear, guys? So these are the major differences between the OLTP system and then OLAP system. Okay. Now we are going to discuss what are the dimension models are there here. So I told OLAP follows the dimension model. Okay. So we are going to discuss what are the dimension models. Before going to discuss the dimension model, we are going to discuss the data warehousing, how they are categorizing the tables. So I told this data warehousing is a tables, right? So database, relational database. So relational database is going to store the data into tables format. How you are going to store the tables in the normal database? You can say any Oracle database, all those things. Okay. So here also the tables are there. Those tables they are categorized into three ways. Okay. One is the dimension tables, fact tables, okay, factless fact table. So the data warehousing tables are